This today is Esoteric Tuesday on 1332 Knitwear Design House. I am Anna, and the CEO, boss lady, soul designer, and all-around knitting machine. Every day during our Stitch and Breathe, where we take 5 minutes to de-stress, decompress, and do a little bit of brain yoga. This is the esoteric part of the channel. Because as a knitter, I knit intention into every stitch, into every garment I make. Okay? We do these here Esoteric Tuesdays every Tuesdays. um, so we are going to go ahead and unpack this December 3rd edition of Esoteric Tuesdays. Scoob is already right here. We are going to pick our topic for today. That one does not count because it jumped out at me. See what we got for today. Amnesia. See? Amnesia. So our topic today, and please don't mind me if I pick up the C and start to knit. It's easier for me to think and put my thoughts together. The topic today is the veil of amnesia. What it is, and how to best overcome it. Okay. The veil of amnesia is best described as your soul's memories of your past life. Now, that's it. When you cross over, your soul is supposed to be washed of memory, but it doesn't always work that way. I've said that before. It doesn't always work that way. It's like the slate blackboards that you had in grade school. You know, the ones with the funky felty stuff on the bottom of them. Those. And you know how sometimes when somebody wrote on those and they pushed too hard, they stained the slate. Or the blackboard in the classroom, the slate. Somebody pushed the chalk too hard and the janitors came and washed it, and you come in the next morning and you can still see the faint words on the blackboard. That's the soul. Okay? That's like the soul. You can kind of see those words. With the veil of amnesia, those words are supposed to be scrubbed. Okay? You're not supposed to remember anything. You're not supposed to. But you can. If you do it right. And trust me, sometimes it's not fun. No, it is not fun in the slightest. Now, what I mean... Okay. I'm getting all discombobulated here, so I need to get some stitches so I can center my thoughts. When I say that we are supposed to be washed of memory, our soul goes to what is essentially a giant recycling center. Soul is made of pure energy. Physics says energy cannot be destroyed. Okay? Therefore, if energy cannot be destroyed, then it has to be recycled. Okay. Well, for that to be true, then since the soul is pure energy, our soul goes to be recycled, to be reused. In that process, it has to be washed of prior memory before it can be put back in circulation. That being said, sometimes the soul doesn't get properly washed. At the same time, the soul is supposed to be mended and cleaned and its thin spots fixed, any rents fixed, any loose buttons, anything like that. all that stuff is supposed to be fixed on the other side of the veil before you are born. Okay? Sometimes, tears, stains, rents, that stuff. Sometimes. It doesn't come off all the way. Or it's like, you know how if you use liquid detergent in your wash, you'll be able to see this a whole lot more, a whole lot easier. Or if you have really messy kids. Let's be honest here. Blacklight shows some crazy stuff. But if you use liquid detergent and you've put it in and not given it quite enough time to disperse before you put your laundry in, or if you're one of those people that put your laundry in and then put your detergent over the top, you'll notice sometimes in a black light you'll have a mark on your clothes, okay, where the detergent was. But if you, in regular light, you can't see it. It's only in the black light. That's kind of the same idea as the veil of amnesia. You can't see the memories unless you meditate on them. But if you change the light just a little bit, or if you change your perspective, change your paradigm, change your worldview, you can see it. And it's not easy. I don't recommend it will make you feel like you're crazy, so I don't recommend tearing your own veil out. The veil of amnesia is supposed to be there to keep you from going crazy. Doesn't always work that way, though. Nope. Ha ha. Anyway, like I said, and yeah, it's like somebody's pressed too hard on the slate, and when it's washed, it can still be seen after it's dried. Or somebody's written on it in, it's a black t-shirt, and somebody's written on it in a highlighter, and then you go to put it under a black light, and you can see all the stuff. Or like kids used to do, they would, in fact, there was a under 21 club that did this when I was a kid. They painted a wall black, and when it was your birthday, you got to write your name on the wall in a highlighter. And they had a black light right above it, so everybody could see what they'd written. If you turned it off, because the black light would actually burn out, the bulb burned out one day while I was there. But if you turn it off, you can't see anything that's on the wall. So what that means is, without the proper conditions, you can't see what's left behind. Because that's exactly what it is. I've said in the first Esoteric Tuesday we did, where we discussed past life love, that, how did I put that? That, in fact, one of the viewers said it. It's like you've got this little cup, and some of it spills out on the edge, but it spills out on the far side, so you don't see it. So you're looking at it, you don't see it, but somebody on the other side of you can see it. And great job. I'm getting the distinct feeling that Spirit does not want me to talk about this. Shut up, woman. They're not supposed to know. Too bad. Too bad, too bad, too bad. Yeah, you're supposed to be washed. Any stains taken care of. Any rents any spots where the fabric is missing is supposed to be fixed. But it doesn't always work that way. It's like, it is very much like a stain. But instead of it being just a splotch, it's an entire story. And if you meditate on that long enough, you'll be able to start to decipher it. And it's, once you start to decipher it, once you start to read the story, and you start to go, oh, that was me. That name, that's me. I, and you start to have memories that just come up out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. I could be, in fact, the worst one I ever had, I was sleeping, and I've had this nightmare since I was 14. I had this nightmare that I was in this, like, veil. And it wasn't like a veil, it was like a shroud. It wasn't bound to me, but it was around me. And it wasn't fabric, it was made of fog. And I could hear somebody yelling for me. And I yelled back. Probably not one of the smartest decisions. But at 14, you're not thinking. And especially at the mental state I was in at the time, I just yelled back. And it was strange. A couple nights later, I had a slightly different dream. I had this, I don't know what you'd call it. A dream, a memory, a vision of a training that I've never done that. I've never had any military training, but the nightmare or dream or whatever it was, we were in a hill fort, the inner bailey of a hill fort, and there were 100 7-year-olds. Oh yes, there was a lot. And I remember looking around at all these other kids wondering why that we were all here. Why were we all here? Why were we all here? And I remember in that being so scared and not knowing why. Not knowing why. A little while later, I had, in fact, it was probably 3 years. No, it was probably closer to 10 years after that dream. I had the nightmare of someone screaming as I crossed the veil. It was a very deep masculine voice screaming. If you want to hear what it sounds like, I want you to click over to, you can bring it up after this. It's a C-drama. It's called Wonderland of Love. Episode 39. The male lead, the actor's name is Shukai. Between 6 minutes and, I want to say 35 seconds, and 7 minutes and 11 seconds. He gives out this heartbroken scream. And the first, because I watched the drama, I was like, "Oh, cool, new C drama, yay, new C drama to read, yippee!" And I thought I had dealt with that memory, and then watching it just brought it all back. The closest I can get to the sound and what it feels like to me is, do you remember Princess Bride? The sound of ultimate suffering. That. But everything was dark. I couldn't see. All I knew is that the person who carried the other half of my soul was screaming. It was like, it tears you up. It does. Because there's nothing you can do once you're done. Once you're in the line, once you're in the queue to be washed, you can't get out of it. So the veil of amnesia happens when you're washed of all memory from your prior life. They put the veil over you, and you're supposed to be ready to go for the next life. Well, usually little things will start to show. Like, I haven't spoken on it yet, but it's in the jar. Monadic twin flames. I always wondered why my journey felt weird. Why, when all the other esoteric people on here on YouTube, you would talk about abundance being money and this being this, that being that. How come mine's not lining up the same? Because it's not the same. Abundance doesn't always mean money. I grow a garden. There's my abundance. Success doesn't always equate work. Mm-mm. Nope. Sometimes successful can be raising multiple special needs children all by yourself. Or almost all by yourself. That can be success. Yeah. So that was why I started meditating heavily. Because I wanted to understand why I felt different. Why I felt like I didn't belong. And then I found the Twin Flame community and started listening to all these podcasts. I'm like, it still doesn't fit. What's going on? And I watched a tarot reader who was talking about astrology. And she said, if you have certain houses at 29 degrees or more than one house at 29 degrees, this is probably your last go around. And when she said that, everything made sense. The recall of prior lives, it's because the fabric has gotten thin. The fabric is threadbare. So you think of it as like a bowl or something. Your soul is here. You've got a veil over it, so you can't see it. But the fabric gets thinned and tattered over time. And then it starts to be where you can see through it. And then it frays more. And the memories start to seep out. And they start to pour out. Now, it's not easy to achieve, but it is rather not hard. Let's put it that way. to be able to embrace it, you need to meditate on the nature of time. To be able to open your own veil, you need to meditate on the nature of time. You need to, once you meditated on the nature of time and you understand that time is cyclical, time is never ending, time is not linear, there's no thing that we have been taught about time that is real. Time is technically a construct, if you want to get technical about it, at least the way we look at it. You understand then that time doesn't always move the same. And then you start wondering, who was I before? Who was I then? Who was I there? And you just meditate on what you were, who you were, where you were. It'll come to you eventually. And this is what we call coming to knowing. You don't know how you know, you just know. So yeah, it's taking your own veil off is not something cool. It can be done, but it's painful. So it's best to, if you want to attempt it, it's best to set aside an entire weekend and just meditate. Meditate on time. Meditate on past. Meditate on who am I? Who is my soul? Where am I? Where's my soul from? These things will give you answers. Because, to be quite honest, I can sit here and talk about this and not give you any answers. Because that's not my job. My job is not to give you answers, not definitive answers. My job is to encourage you to seek your own answers. And to do that, you're going to need to learn to meditate, which is what we do every morning in the Stitch and Breathe. We meditate for 5 minutes. I know it doesn't seem like that's what we're doing, but that's what we're doing. Yes. Because I tell you guys every morning, let go of stress, negativity, and other people's ick, and breathe in peace, positivity, and balance. That is essentially meditation. You're bringing in good and releasing the bad. And there's a lot of things that, like with the veil of amnesia, some things will come to you in a trickle. Some things will come to you in dreams. Some things will come to you while you're in the middle of washing the dishes and you'll just see a scene that pops in your head. Or you'll zone out for a minute on the couch watching TV and it's like you're seeing something else and it's like, what the hell is this shit? Those are the memories coming up. It's your soul asking, do you remember this? Pay attention to that. Do you remember this? There's a lot of stuff from the first one I remember. The second one, not so much because it scrambled my brain, but, beggars and choosers. So yes, I do have 29 degrees in my chart. My moon is 29 degrees. There's like 4 houses that are 29 degrees. Rock on. This is my last go round here. This is my last dance. I am done. And I would much prefer to just be enjoying my retirement with the hawk, but that's not happening. Anyways, y'all, this has been Esoteric Tuesday for the week. If you guys need some further reading, I have recommended The Tao of Physics. I recommended this one 2 weeks ago. If you haven't read it, read it. Okay? I am also going to recommend this one, Blackfoot Physics. these two books and Black Elk Speaks dovetail together rather nicely. Because if you can bootstrap theories together, which is not all that hard once you actually figure out how to do it. The Tao of Physics and Blackfoot Physics both talk about wavelengths of time and how shifts in paradigm allow you to see those. Black Elk Speaks allows us to turn our vision just a little bit. Just turn it a little bit and look at things from a different direction. Anyways, y'all. Huge hugs. Much love. Happy Tuesday.